In Pennsylvania, there is a state representative. Her name is Stephanie Borowicz, and she's a Christian nationalist who's been in office since 2018. She just introduced, she says she's going to introduce legislation, a resolution rather, recognizing September 12th as the Day of the Bible. And if you read this, like, there's no actual document yet. You could see that down there. She hasn't actually submitted this resolution. But in this, she says she's going to introduce this resolution designating September 12th as the Day of the Bible. Why September 12th? Because that's the day the U.S. Congress in 1782 officially authorized the publication of the first complete English language Bible printed in America, the Atkin Bible. This marked a profound moment in American history, linking the foundational ideals of liberty and faith. And what is the point of the resolution? You can see the bullet points down here. It is to recognize the Bible's long-standing influence on American and Pennsylvanian culture, morality, and civic life, to commemorate the historic role Pennsylvania played in the Bible's publication and preservation, and to encourage citizens, schools, and institutions to reflect on the Bible's enduring role in promoting the values of justice, redemption, personal responsibility, and compassion, which is wild because the people who tend to promote Christianity in politics are the least compassionate, least willing to take responsibility, and least just people you will ever meet. So this is what Borowicz is planning to introduce. And let's talk about the Atkin Bible for a second, because that deserves some discussion in and of itself. She says this resolution is significant because it commemorates the day Congress authorized the publication of this English language Bible, the Atkin Bible. She says that book is endorsed by Congress and the congressional chaplains, and that illustrates how deeply rooted spiritual values were in the formation of our republic. But her facts are wrong. Like, the Atkin Bible is one of those props that people like David Barton bring up in their presentations, because in his telling of the story, what David Barton does, because he's a liar, is he says the Atkin Bible was printed by Congress and intended for use in public schools, and that's a reason church-state separation should not exist. But again, David Barton is a liar, because guess what? Atkin himself, not Congress, wrote the note that said this should be used in schools. Also, Congress did not endorse his Bible. They merely said government chaplains confirmed this is an accurate representation of the Bible and you can publish it. Congress did not buy copies of it. They did not print it themselves. They did not pay for it to be published. They basically said, yeah, you can do whatever you want with this Bible, whatever. But because Barton has spent so many years promoting the Atkin Bible as evidence that we are in a so-called Christian nation, it's kind of canon in the world of Christian revisionists that this Bible is the true Bible. In fact, Tennessee put out a list of its official state books. They tried to pass a resolution saying these are our official state books, and they included the Atkin Bible in their list of state books. That was last year. Now, why is Borowicz doing this? She has basically used her time in office to promote Christianity anytime she could. This is a few years ago where she posted a resolution doing what? This is a resolution designating March 30th, 2020 as a state day of humiliation, fasting, and prayer. And by the way, if that date rings a bell, it's because it was right after COVID started, and she called COVID a punishment inflicted upon us for our presumptuous sins. She thought COVID was sent to us by God to punish us for what? For gay people existing. Things like that. What else has she done here? She wants to put the 10 Commandments in public schools. This is a bill she also says she plans to file. But as I said in an earlier story, that's been shot down by the courts, so it's not going to get anywhere. What else has she done? This is interesting. This is just a tweet from Right Wing Watch. But look at this. Pennsylvania State Rep Stephanie Borowicz claims that 65% of all the founding documents came from Jesus's words and the Bible. We have no idea what she's talking about, and neither does she. Yeah, that's just a made up statistic. I have no clue what she's referring to there. There is also maybe her most infamous thing that she's done since getting into office. In 2019, Pennsylvania swore into office its first Muslim legislator. Her name is Movita Johnson Harrell. And that's a big deal. That's a big first in the state of Pennsylvania. And so Borowicz decided to use that day to deliver an invocation in the state house. And in 90 seconds, she brought up the name Jesus like 13 times, where to the point where you're not giving an invocation. You're just trying to make sure your new Muslim colleague doesn't make any headway into the state because you're trying to remind everyone that this legislature is all about Jesus. It was so rude that the new Muslim lawmaker told reporters that she expected to face discrimination as a Muslim woman, but, quote, I did not think it would come on the actual day of my swearing in. And in 2023, when discussing a symbolic resolution from Democrats to designate Climate Week across the state, Borowicz said that she didn't need to worry about climate change because the Bible said so. And I'm going to play that for you here.
When Democrats are pushing bills like banning gas-powered mowers and gas-powered stoves in New York City, all under the name of a climate control agenda, we can all see what is really going on here. The truth is in Genesis 8:22, it says, as long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. I'll say that again, will never cease. Of course, we are to be good stewards of God's creation, but not through a forceful climate control global agenda. I'm a no. Thank you, Chairman.
That forceful climate control global agenda was about a symbolic resolution designating Climate Week. Also, as long as the earth endures, what the hell? But like, this is who Borowicz is. Everything is about Jesus, which would be fine if she were a preacher or a lady who was just at home. But like, that's the job she wants. She wants to be a preacher. She shouldn't be in the legislature then. That's not the job she has. Her job is to represent her constituents, including non-Christians, not shilling for Jesus at a time when, more than ever, we need sensible lawmakers to use reason-based evidence. She's such a waste of space in the Pennsylvania House. But again, she's coming from a red seat. In 2024, she won re-election with about 70% of the votes, and Democrats have a slim one-vote majority in the state house. So her resolution hopefully won't go anywhere, even if it's just symbolic in nature. And also there's a Democratic governor, Josh Shapiro. Republicans, however, control the state Senate. I also want to point out, I just saw this recently, that this push to make the Day of the Bible, it turns out there's another senator, Doug Mastriano, who is not just another Christian nationalist, but also a failed gubernatorial candidate. He just ran in the last cycle as the Republican nominee for governor and got crushed. He plans to introduce this same resolution in his chamber that Republicans do control. Hopefully it won't go anywhere, but this is what these people are doing. Like, the world's on fire, and these people are like, you know what we don't have enough of? Acknowledging the Bible. I don't know. That's what they're doing in Pennsylvania. That's what Republicans are doing in that state. And I know, look, Democrats in Pennsylvania don't have the best track record either. John Fetterman is not great, but like, there you go. That's what they're doing.